Hey guys, Mrs. Estrada here. How are you guys all doing? I wanted to start the week with our vocabulary. The vocabulary that we are learning this week are for vocabulary words. We have the word grain, which is a small part of something. And here in the picture, we have little grains of rice. So it's one tiny grain. And it says here it's hard to pick up only one small grain of rice. So that's what a grain is. It's a small part of something. So other things that we can think of that it's a grain can be like a salt. So a little, sand. So it's like a little small particle part of it. So when we think about it, we can say, would we rather have a grain of salt or would we want a bucket of salt? So that's one way to look at it. And in your chart down here, you can look at different types of grains like salt, rice, sugar, and sand. The next vocabulary word that you have is a pod. And a pod is what is on the outside. It's the shell that covers a seed. So if you look at this sentence, it says a pod or a shell protects peas as they grow. So a vegetable that has a pod would be a seed. I'm sorry, would be a peas, and they show on the picture right here. The inside are the peas, and the outside is the pod, which is holding the peas inside. Again, a pod is a shell that covers the seeds. And we said a type of pod that we would eat as a vegetable would be peas. So when you think about it, you can look at different things such as in our garden. What color is the pod? What shape does it have? So think of the different types of seeds that we plant. They're all different colors, they're different shapes, and they're different sizes. So that is a pod. Then we have the word soak, and soak is something that gets completely wet. So when the children soak the soil with water to help the seeds grow, that doesn't mean that they sprinkle a little bit of water on it. It means that they put a lot of water in those pots so that the soil will soak. Again, soak means that something is completely wet with a liquid. In this case, the liquid that we're talking about was water that we put inside the pot. And another way to think about it is, has there ever been a time where somebody spills something on you and your shirt just gets completely wet, so you're soaked in whatever got spilled on you? And other things that can get soaked, like when we're in the bathtub for a long time and our fingers get kind of wrinkly. That's a way that we can think of, our fingers, what happens to them when they get soaked. Think about also dirty clothes. What would happen to them if they soaked in sand? The dirty clothes, what would happen to it? And also another thing to think about, is can you soak yourself in the bathtub? Those are different ways of talking about it. So you might share that with someone. And our last vocabulary word is the word soften. Soften in this case means when we make something less hard to make it become soft. So the sentence they give us here is the boiling water softened the noodles. It means that it made the noodles softer instead of being hard. And when we soak the soil becomes softer and it doesn't become hard. So that's one way that we can think about it when we talk about our story that we're reading. So think about when you're going to lay on the floor. How do you make it soft? You can put a lot of blankets on it, pillows, different things that will soften the surface of it. Now, you can go ahead and talk it over. Decide whether these sentences are correct using the word soften. The recipe said to soften the butter first. I like to soften yellow cake with chocolate frosting. The freezing temperatures cause the water to soften into ice. Landing on the big bush helped to soften his fall. So these are sentences you can look at and think, is that how you use the word soften? Now, the next part that I want to come into is just a quick review of the life cycle of a plant. It's important to know that what we're reading right now, it's an informational text, so it's showing us how the process goes for a plant. So when we think of a giant tree, it's hard to imagine that once that big tree came from a tiny little seed. So what we have to do is we have to think, okay, the seed was in the ground, it got sunlight, and the rain gave it water, so the tree was able to grow. At first it was small, and then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and after years of it becoming bigger, it became a full-grown tree. Now, when seeds fall from the tree, it allows more trees to grow all around. And that's the cycle of the life of a tree. So many plants do grow in that same way. And that's exactly what we're reading about in the story From Seed to Plant. So join me next to read the story.